It's the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Wisdom Wednesday with the wisdom coming from my buddy Big Cat from Barstool. Got to talk with him with the Eagles playing the Bears this week and get his thoughts on a guy I know he revered in Mike Leach, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 61. We are presented by DraftKings. We are already only 2 days away from a new Spread the Word winner via social media, a new sponsor confirmation email winner, and a new YouTube shout-out winner. I think you guys pretty much know the deal with all those contests. Although I didn't even pick who's getting the latest Madden code for subscribing to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. So go to my Twitter, screenshot when you subscribe to the YouTube, and then reply to it. I'm going to probably pick that later on today. A lot to get to, so let's get right into it with Big Cat, with the Big Show.
The Big Show.
So if you're not familiar with Big Cat and or his show, pardon my take, boy, where have you been? It's like the most popular sports podcast in the world. It's incredible. I've been on it a couple times. And really, there is no secret sauce other than it's probably the two funniest guys I know that aren't like professional comedians. Like, even if all you did was follow them on social media at PFT Commenter and at Barstool Big Cat, you would know they are legitimately hilarious. It's kind of an awesome story, Big Cat, that you guys found each other, and then it was like meant to be.
Yeah. It's I appreciate the kind words. It is funny. Yeah, we met each other because it was probably it's like 8 years ago now. People were claiming that I was stealing his jokes, he was stealing my jokes, a lot of parallel thought. And then we met each other and we had a beer in Chicago. And I remember, I think we both were like, the next thing we want to do is like try to like get Cal Ripken for steroids. And like we both had that independent thought together. So it's been great. It's been a wild ride. Barstool, over a decade working here, and part of my take's been going at it we're coming up on 7 years, I think. So I have the best job in the world. I'm a very regular guy. I like to gamble and watch football, and I get paid well to do that. So I can't complain.
I can't believe it's been 7 years already, man. I remember, like being in studio with you guys. I think it was year one, maybe. It was pretty early in the process. Time is going crazy fast. Before I get into some of this other stuff, I do want to promote this because I'm a big fan of promoting businesses. People know I promote myfrontpagestory.com a lot on here. You guys have kind of transitioned to the point where you're now selling coffee and cheesesteaks. That's amazing, by the way. Like, what a combo. What a country. Yeah. How's that going? Because correct me if I'm wrong, especially the cheesesteak part of it, that sounds like a lot of work behind the scenes that people could just hit a button to order a cheesesteak and it gets delivered to their house. Like that was not like something you came up with in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That is also both Pardon My Cheesesteaks and Stella Blue Coffee is a testament to how like huge that Barstool has become and the growth that we've had. We have, I think we had our end of the year meeting the other day. And when we moved to New York, I think there was 11 employees. We're at 400 now. So that's been like 6 years. We're at 400 people. So many talented people, so many people behind the scenes that make us look good. The coffee's been going fantastic, like just a seamless launch. Really, really smart people that support us. And when you're working on a game or working in media in any capacity, there are, for every person you see in front of the camera, there's like 20 people that are making that person look great and be set up for success. So yeah, that's really a testament to the whole team behind us.
That's awesome, man. Did you start to post the coffee stuff knowing you were going to do this? Or
no.
Did you start thinking about doing it as you were posting like the coffee meme every morning?
So we get a lot of credit for being smarter than we are. People will oftentimes be like, oh, this was like genius of you. It's like, no, I'm pretty dumb. I'm a dumb person. I started posting the coffee meme because I was just like, I got 2 kids. I'm tired all the time. I'm up at, 7 a.m. with them. I just thought it was started as a joke. Like like basically like your Facebook aunt, like posting a coffee meme. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then after like 6 months, Erica was like, should we start a coffee company? And I was like, wow, I never thought of that. So, yeah, I'm an idiot. And it was by chance and luck.
That is amazing. Look, that's how a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah.
I say all the time, like, I don't know if I ever told you the story, but in like 2009, maybe, or 2008, ESPN hired me away from Sports Illustrated. It was like a year after I retired. I was writing for Sports Illustrated because I know Peter King. ESPN hired me away and to write for them. And they said, do you want to host our podcast? And I was like, absolutely, I would love to. Literally, Big Cat, I had no idea what a podcast was. None. I was just like, I just knew they were going to pay me money to talk about football. So I did that for 3 years, and I knew what the audience was. I knew what the advertisers were paying. So then I went on my own because I was like, wait a minute, like I'm gonna do my own thing here, which like best thing I've ever done in my life, probably.
Yeah.
And it was really just luck that ESPN asked me to do it. I think in general, successful people are probably a lot luckier than the general public realizes.
Could not agree more. It actually drives me nuts when you hear like these fake Instagram people who are like, this is how you can become a millionaire. This is how this can happen. Like, all you got to do is work really hard. The amount of luck that every successful person has had, whether they want to admit it or not, because I think a lot of times really successful people don't want to admit the luck because then it kind of diminishes their genius or their skill. Can I swear?
We try not to.
All right, screw that. Screw that. All these people, you got lucky in a lot of ways. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of, hard work. I'll be the first to say, like, I think I work harder than almost anyone in media, but I had a lot of luck too. I had a lot of luck and a lot of things bounced my way. So I think any successful person has to recognize that and appreciate it, because otherwise you're going to just be walking around thinking that you're the best thing ever. And, every idea you have will be a $100 million idea.
Yeah. So one of the things I like the most about you is your work ethic. And because I can tell when you're up by your tweets. So like you'll be watching like the late basketball games, but then you get up early because your kids, like, I know you're not sleeping that much. You got to try. Well, I guess your kids are 3.5 and 1. You got to try to rock a nap in there some days, like a midday nap. Are you ever able to get that in? Because that's what I do a lot.
Yeah, sometimes I'll hit the nap on the weekend. I do. My son too is at the age now where his new thing is he just gets up whenever he wants to get up. So the last 4 nights, he's just been like face to face with me at like 4:30 in the morning. Like got out of his room and he's just like, Dad, I'm ready to get up. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I went to bed like 3 hours ago. But the naps, and then I've also gotten good at the like 10-minute nap while watching the kids. Like if you have the kid, I'll have the kids close by, and it's basically like my son's now at an age that if something bad happened, he would wake me up. So it's like I can close my eyes for 10 minutes. I'll set my alarm for 10 minutes, sitting on the couch, knowing like they can play by themselves for 10 minutes.
All right. So transitioning, we were talking about successful people and luck and genius. I did want to get your thoughts on Mike Leach passing. I don't remember how much interaction that you've had with him, but I know that you revere him, and I just wanted to give you the platform on this show to say why.
Yeah, so I mean, we did have him on. We had him on a couple times. Pardon my take. Became friendly with him. Texting with him. He definitely was one of those guys that you could just tell had fun, and he was unapologetically himself. And I when I say the fun part, it's an important thing, because when you think about college football and you think about all the successful coaches, like Urban Meyer doesn't have fun. Nick Saban doesn't have fun. Kirby Smart doesn't have fun. And that doesn't mean Mike Leach wasn't taking it seriously, because he was a phenomenal coach. The way he turned around Texas Tech and Washington State. I mean, he had the only 11-win season in Washington State history. he did great things in terms of coaching, but he also had fun, and he also was himself, and he didn't try to put on airs, and he didn't try to be someone he's not, and he didn't try to, dress it up for corporate America or try to give off the vibe of someone that is trying too hard or anything. He was himself, and we're gonna miss him because he's a character, and he made college football more fun. And on top of all of that, the game is different because of Mike Leach. Mike Leach's fingerprints are all over the game of football. When you watch on a Saturday and you see 4 verts and you see, just running gun and just guys bombing the ball, like Mike Leach and Hal Mummy at Kentucky, like that was the revolution. And everyone he's touched, Lincoln Riley, Oranda, Holgerson, all these guys that you watch, Sonny Dykes, who you're going to watch in college football playoff, all these guys were touched by Mike Leach. So I think that's his greatest legacy, is that his mind does live on in football with everyone that he, came across.
Totally agree. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. And I also could not agree more with what you're saying about happiness and having fun. I always think when people say, oh, that person is really successful, I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, because they have a lot of money or because they won a bunch of games? Like, I don't know. My personal philosophy is whoever stacks up the most happy days when they die, like that's who won, right? Like every day that you have a happy, fun day, that's a win. If you don't, that's a loss. And that's actually the scoreboard at the end. It's not like how much money you had or how many championships you won or anything like that. That's my opinion. Speaking of that, by the way.
Yeah, I like
Chicago
that. That's
Bears,
a great way to look at it.
Yeah, Chicago Bears have lost 6 in a row. However, I got to think that on some level, you must be feeling pretty good about it. Like, give me your, for those of you who don't know, Big Cat's a diehard Bears fan. And I think this is something that every NFL fan that watches or listens to the show can relate to. Where kind of are you right now with your beloved Bears?
Okay, so it's been an interesting season. Justin Fields is the guy. He is truly, I feel confident in his growth and what he's shown and what he can become more than any quarterback. I don't want to say Bears history, but pretty much. Like this is a guy who's different than everything we've ever had. But at the same time, losing is good this year because you want that draft pick, especially if you're going to trade and get a lot of draft capital for it. So it is a very weird situation to watch these games, be legitimately excited about watching Bears games for the first time in a long time, because that's how exciting Justin Fields is. But also at the end of the day, like, want to lose the game. So it's been a fun season, weirdly, even though it's a 3-10 team. There's been a little frustration, but yeah, at this point, I think they got to lose to stretch out. And I have something for you, Ross. So this Bears-Eagles matchup is a personal catastrophe matchup for me. Okay. You know that I'm not a great gambler. Everything usually goes wrong for me whenever I'm gambling. My beloved Bears going against Eagles. I have a Super Bowl ticket for the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl at 22-1. I'd win $200,000. $200,000. I need the Eagles to get the 1 seed. I need the Bears to lose out to get a better draft pick. If the gambling gods treat me like they've treated me my whole life, the Bears will win this game.
That is unbelievable. Well, I can tell you, the Eagles are ridiculously good. Yeah, I grew up outside of Philly. I do their preseason games and pregame. It's the best Eagles team I've ever seen. Now, they might not win it, but like they're good at every position. Like everybody's good. It's unbelievable how everything has come together at the right time. That's funny. So basically, like the Bears' losses to the Dolphins, I think it was like 35-32, or the Lions. That's like ideal for you right now. Like make it close, have great plays, show that we're almost a good team, but still lose at the end.
Yeah. Like I would like the perfect loss. We haven't gotten the perfect loss because I would like Fields. Like there's been a couple times where he's had an interception late. It's like, I'd like to see something, but there's also been guys dropping balls. The perfect loss is for the Bears to like be in one of those back and forth games. And then at the end of the game, be down like 2. Fields drives for like a chip shot field goal, does his job, and then we miss the field goal. that's like what I'm rooting for every single week. So it's
So
like
basically
everything that Fields
like
could
the
do, he did. Yeah.
basically like the double doink type situation
Yes.
all
Yes.
over
Not to
again.
bring up bad memories, but yes.
That was the last time the Eagles played in Chicago. Where does that rank? Because that was Trubisky was looking good. It was Nagy's first year. I imagine you were like really excited. Like, okay, Mitch is the guy. Nagy's the guy. We have a home playoff game. Trubisky's taking us down the field. We're going to get a playoff win. That has to be pretty high in like the Big Cat disappointment rankings.
It was significantly high because I truly do think that 2018 team could have gone to the Super Bowl. Their defense was that good. Remember, the Rams go to the Super Bowl to play the Patriots. The Rams had come to Chicago early December and got the doors beaten off of them. They scored like 6 points, just suffocated that Rams offense. So that was a really, really hurtful experience because I really did think that Bears team was good enough to make a run and carry, and that defense was good enough to carry them to the Super Bowl.
Two quick ones. Are the Bears really moving out of Chicago? And how do you feel about that?
I hope so because, all right, so I don't want to go. I could talk about it for like hours, but Soldier Field's a dump. It's not, it's a beautiful place in terms of the proximity to the lake. It's great for the skyline, all that. In terms of the actual facility, it's a dump. It's the smallest stadium in the NFL by far. The lines are long. The parking is difficult. There's not a ton of parking. The tailgate, like if you don't have a parking spot, you have to basically, go from the South Loop and walk like a mile to the stadium. The whole thing is not good. And the Bears don't own the stadium. They don't own the stadium. The city of Chicago owns the stadium. So I think what's going to end up happening is Virginia McCaskey, as she gets up there in age, hopefully she lives forever. If she passes, I think the family is not going to, they're going to want their piece of the pie, not have to have everyone just still carry the Bears. They're going to sell the team. No owner in the history of the NFL is going to want to buy a team that the city owns the stadium. They want their own stadium. So I think Arlington Heights is going to be a great spot. And it's going to, at some point, the Bears have to start acting like a real franchise. And that point is like 50 years ago. They were thinking about moving out of Soldier Field 50 years ago. So it's long past due. They did a renovation in it was like 01. That didn't, they just put a Band-Aid on it. It's not a good stadium and it's not a good turf, and the city owns it. They need to come up with the times and own their own stadium.
Well, I know I'm not the first person to say this, but it really does look like a spaceship landed on top of Soldier Field. It is bizarre. I don't know what the logic was there, but it's wild. Last question, Big Cat. College bowl season is here. So I have a college draft podcast. We mainly talk NFL on this show, but I know you love bowl season. Sell my listeners on why bowl season is awesome.
I mean, bowl season is the absolute best. Watching two teams that have nothing to play for play in a bowl that means absolutely nothing on like a Tuesday in that stretch of December where you're like, I don't know if I'm drunk or full or both. It's just the best. And you see stupid things happen. You see weird moments happen. I love bowl season. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And people will there's nothing like people walking by the TV and being like, why are you watching this? It's like, well, what else did I watch? It's football. It's on TV. We're at the end of the year. There's not a lot of ton of football left. Embrace bowl season. Cherish bowl season. I love bowl season.
Check him out on social media at Barstool Big Cat. Check out his show, Pardon My Take, and get a cheesesteak and definitely get some coffee. Look, it's good coffee, and it's called Stella Coffee after his dog, which is good enough reason to just give it a try. It's better than any other coffee you've ever had, probably. I've never had it. I don't drink coffee, but if Big Cat puts the Big Cat stamp of approval behind Stella Blue Coffee, that's good enough for me.
Thank you, Ross. I appreciate it and appreciate catching up with you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on the show. You know what else I appreciate? Peace of mind. Knowing that my family and I are safe at all times, especially this time of year when it is wild, by the way, how often the UPS or the Amazon or the FedEx guy comes. I think that's how my wife does the Christmas shopping. She just orders everything. Do you know how many package thefts there are? It is wild. You need to have, at a minimum, the crystal clear HD security camera feeds. You can literally see on your phone when the FedEx guy or UPS guy comes, where they drop it off. And like people are not going to come up and steal it if they know that you have a security system like Simply Safe, which is the best home security system of 2022 by US News and World Report for the third year in a row. They're just not going to do it. So customize the perfect system for your home, even just the ability to see, oh man, that place has a security system. They don't mess with that. They're not messing with this house that has a security system. Why would you do that? They're going to go to the next house that doesn't have a security system. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/Tucker. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. That's simplysafe.com/Tucker. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Tuck's Takes.
Morning, Ross. We'll start with we talk about Big Cat, Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach passing away yesterday at 61 years old.
So this will actually be, Jack, the Labatt Blue Take of the Day, presented by Labatt Blue Light, the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Share a Labatt with friends this football season, because I was on the air with Mike Leach a couple times. I can't remember if I was just a guest with he and Jack Root on the SiriusXM College show back in the day, or maybe I might have hosted a couple times with Mike Leach. Actually, I can't remember, but a truly unique guy, a free spirit, obviously hilarious, and I kind of like that. I kind of like having some levity to the situation. It's football. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. Sometimes some of these coaches, it's like it's state secrets and it's like the most serious thing in the world. It's an entertainment product. It's football. And here's the thing. This guy's had a major impact on football at every level. Football was not like this when he started coaching. Mike Leach and Hal Mummy figured out, you know what? We're not using the width of the field enough. We're not spreading the defense out enough. Let's get 5 receivers. Let's spread them out and make the defense have to defend the total width and length of the field. And you know what? Highly successful. I remember watching Texas Tech beat Texas. They had no business doing that with the talent they had. You were talking about a guy that maximized talent. Places like Texas Tech, Washington State, Mississippi State, those schools are not getting the pick of the litter when it comes to talent, and yet they would consistently beat a lot of these other teams that had more talent. And just the notion of spreading the defense out like they did pretty much changed football forever. I mean, think about the way high school football is now, college, certainly with the spread and everything. Even NFL teams are so different than they used to be. And I really think Mike Leach and Hal Mummy were a big, big part of that.
Tuck's Takes.
Cowboys signed wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, while the Bills signed Cole Beasley, another wide receiver.
So what's interesting to me about this, Jack, is these are two teams that were reported to be in the Odell Beckham Jr. sweepstakes, and they're both signing different receivers. Now, Cole Beasley's like strictly a slot guy, and I think the Bills are not good enough on third down. And I think because they're not good enough on third down, the Bills wanted to give Josh Allen a reliable third down target that he's obviously very comfortable with. That makes sense. As for the Cowboys, T.Y. Hilton can do a little bit of both. T.Y. Hilton can take the top off the defense, and the Cowboys are kind of lacking that a little bit, but he also can play in the slot if you want him to. Now, I don't know. It's tough to sign these guys December 12th, December 13th. We'll see what they have left in them. We'll see how good they are. But I at least respect that these are teams. here's the other thing too. You want to do this now because what if you have an injury at one of those positions, right? You want to make sure you're sort of covered, sort of like the Howie Roseman getting Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh thing. Make sure you're covered in case of injury. I like it.
Tuck's takes.
Niners lose cornerback Deontay Spencer. Eagles lose punter Aaron Stipoff, so they signed Brett Kern and safety Anthony Harris. Another one I'm throwing in on you that was announced in the middle of your interview with Big Cat. Dallas Goedert has been designated to return from IR, while the Texans cut Eno Benjamin and the Browns put JOK on injured reserve.
So, the thing about punters is it doesn't really bother you that much when you lose them. Like, I'm not happy about it because Sipas actually made a couple athletic plays, but he was an average punter, and my guess is Kern can probably fill that void. Feels like the Niners lose a lot of guys, every year. Eagles signing Anthony Harris makes sense. I don't know how long Reed Blankenship will be out, but they're kind of down to their fourth safety there. And Harris started last year and knows the defense, so that makes sense. Goddard is a stud, so that adds even – it's interesting now that I think about it, Jack. It's interesting how many points they've scored the last few games without Goddard, actually. It's forced them to either run it or throw it to their receivers, which has been pretty good. I don't understand the Eno Benjamin thing. I thought he was good in Arizona. This must be like a personality thing, or he gets mad if he doesn't get the ball. I don't know what's going on there. If you have insight, send me an email, ross@rosstucker.com. And then, JOK, Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa for the Browns on IR. That's not good. He's by far, from my time watching them, by far their best linebacker. Let's do an email, Jack. We don't get to as many emails as I would like. Let's do one email.
Ever wanted to ask an NFL player a question? Well, here's your chance. It's time to Ask Ross.
Ross@rosstucker.com is the email address. Remember, if you ever take advantage of any of the sponsors, forward it to me, the screenshot or whatever, ross@rosstucker.com with your question. I guarantee to read and respond to it on the show. What do you got, Jack?
All right, this one comes from Chris Allen. He says, "Thank you for the wonderful years of content. I only listen to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and I listened all the way back to the days of the letter company that shall not be named. As a diehard Titans fan, I was wondering, with the sorry state of the AFC South as a whole, do you think the Titans can win their division and have any chance in the playoffs if they do? And does Derrick Henry have a chance to get back to where he was before his injury last year? Thank you so much."
From Chris Allen. This is probably from a while ago. My guess, we don't get to as many emails during the season as I would like. We get to a bunch more of them in the offseason. Yes, I think the Titans will win the division because the rest of the division stinks. I don't think they have much of a chance in the playoffs. Maybe win a game, but I can't really see them winning more than that. Maybe win their first home playoff game, but even that's going to be against like the Bengals or the Ravens probably, which will be tough. I'm not sure. I would be curious to get your opinion, Chris, as to whether or not you think Derrick Henry is back to where he was before the injury. He looks good to me. I don't know if I think he's back, but he looks good to me. Just like getting a loved one a story from myfrontpagestory.com would look so good to you. They will be so, and there's still time. There's still time. We're like 10 days away, okay? But they need at least a week to write the story and send it to you. So go to myfrontpagestory.com today if you haven't yet. Or you can go to Pizza Boy Brewing, Sporticulture, HumanHeadNYC.com, SteakhouseSports.com, Go-Bengals.com, Evergreen Economics, Vision Comics with an X, BackOfficeScheduler.com. Fantasy Feast. We posted in about an hour. I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.